Hello, everybody. It is Dee and Renee, and we are super excited to be with you today. We're going to be sharing our barbecue recipes, and as we know in the U.S., now last weekend was a long weekend for Canada, which was I'm sorry, I apologize. I said Queen's Day, but it was actually Victoria's Day. So I'm sorry, you guys. So anyway, Dee has been cooking up a storm, and she actually gave me a few tasks myself. So I got to do a little cooking myself. So I'm waiting for Dee to jump online. I think we're having a little bit of technical difficulty, but if you are out there, would you do me a favor and push the share button and share this broadcast out to all of your friends and family and people that you know love to cook healthy or maybe need to cook healthy, and have them join in on our weekly show. If you're interested in seeing our upcoming or getting our upcoming recipes, all you have to do is type in the word newsletter, and you will get the weekly, you're going to get a two-part on your Facebook Messenger. You're going to get a two-part little message. So one, you have to say yes to first to say that you want our texts or I guess Facebook messages, and secondly, then hit the little button that says newsletter, and you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Okay, so I'm not sure what's going on here, but I'm here. So let's get started. And I know that Dee gave me a couple of tasks, so I will talk about my tasks first. How about that? And then hopefully Dee is going to pop up here. So one of the things that she gave me to do was to make 3 recipes. And I did this literally in less than an hour, and I took pictures at the same time. So it's doable, you guys. If you feel like you don't have time to cook, you don't have time to make fresh things, and here she is. There's my girl. All right, here she comes. Hey, Dee, you made it. Are you here? Miss Dee, are you, can we hear you? Dee, are you there? Okay, you guys, I'm gonna pop the veggies back up here and see if we can get Miss Dee back here soon. All right, so one of the things that she gave me to do was simply to grill some vegetables. And so I happen to be down here in our Palm Desert location, and we have a Ideal Protein down here in Palm Desert in the Palm Springs area. So if you're down here, stop in and visit. We love visitors. But we also are usually, this time of year is amazing, and it's 100 degrees outside. Well, right now it's probably about less than 70, and it's raining. It's going to rain for about 4 hours today, and then the sun is going to come out, and it's going to be probably 85 tomorrow, and for the rest of the weekend in the 90s. But okay, you guys, I see a couple people that have jumped on here. Hi, Sandy, how are you? Glad to have you with us. And June says she loves flame broiled food. All right, if you guys love to barbecue, do me a favor and give me the like symbol, the heart symbol, whatever that means to you. I know that in our family, being together and being at home and being outside, all of those things go together. They're fun. They're, you know, it's so nice when we can all be swimming and hanging out in the backyard, or just casually together in the evening time. And So what I did with these vegetables, and you can tell, you guys, I'm not a cook. So if I can do it, you can do it. And so these are green onions. So I'll tell you how she had me do them. So she had me do the green onions first. They took the fastest, and literally under maybe like 3 minutes. And so I turned them very quickly. And then they were done. And so the asparagus was still on there when I was doing, so as I had, woo, she made it. So I was just talking about these veggies here. And let's see how we're going to have to do this today. Let's see what we got here. Oh, there we go. We're going to be on the left today. So how are you, Dee?
I'm good, thank you. How are you? You are looking fabulous today.
Oh, thank you. I think we should probably push the show out another half an hour so we have time to test. You guys, we're just working with this new time frame, and Dee comes home from work, and then she has to, you know, beat everybody with a stick to get off of the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, sorry guys, I had a bad connection today.
Yeah, it happened. So tell us, I was just talking about my weather here. It just decided randomly, it's usually like 100 degrees this weekend, like straight through. And it's been very nice and cool in the upper or lower 80s. And today it decided for 4 hours to just have a rainstorm. So that is when I thought, oh, I'll just cook right before the show, and then I'll have all these fresh veggies, you know, like this.
Beautiful.
But it was raining outside, but it was warm rain. It was great. So tell us what's happening in the hat.
Well, today it's about 20 degrees, so it'd be about in the 70s, maybe close to, yeah. But we had so last night when I was trying to barbecue, funny enough, we had rain as well. So Mother Nature was just not cooperating with this week's ideas. So I was grilling shrimp at 11 p.m. last night. True story, people.
I like it.
Yeah.
So fun. Well, we have a few people on. Joelle says, lucky guys, I'm in the Northeast and it's still cold. Well, I'm bummed for you. And then Line is from Quebec. Thanks for jumping on and saying hi. If you are just coming onto the show, tell us where you're from. Hit the share button. If you're loving any of these recipes, hit the like button. We love all that stuff. And of course, put your comments, any questions in the comments. We love to hear that. If you want the weekly newsletters, all you have to do is type in newsletter and you are going to get a message in your Facebook Messenger box. Okay, Dee, so I'm going to pop these back to where they belong. And so you were grilling up a storm last night. Tell me a little bit about, I mean, I love grilled chicken. I eat a lot of chicken. But even, you know, one of the things that, you know, that I've been doing is starting the Maintain Don't Gain Summer Challenge, which starts on June 24th. And we have a special group if you want to join it. Just put maintain in the comments and I'll send you a little link to it. But you know, the key thing, and I think sometimes what people miss is when you're moving from weight loss to maintenance, we're still eating a lot of the same things, aren't we?
Absolutely. Yeah.
We're not heading back to burger and fries land. So tell us what healthy choices you have on the menu this week.
So we're featuring some grilling, but we're giving you some great marinades, barbecue sauces, a pesto that can be used as a salad dressing, or you can brush it on grilled vegetables, meats. You can use it as a dressing for your faux potato salads. Beautiful right there. So very, very simple, versatile dressings, marinades, barbecue sauces that are made out of ingredients that they will become a standard in your pantry once you get going on clean eating, low sugar, low carb eating. So they are things that will be easily accessible. They'll become really common to you to make some great, fresh, again, dressings, marinades, so on and so forth. And it really shows you that you don't need a lot of pre-bottled, you don't need a lot of fake sweeteners, those types of things while you are in the losing phase. And then these dressings and marinades transfer right into maintenance. Of course, you can dress them up even a little bit more once you are in those phases, but really, in the maintenance phase, but really simple to do, fast and easy and super tasty. And fresh ingredients can keep for weeks in your fridge if kept airtight. So a little bit of fast work can go a long, long way as well. So, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly, I'll talk a little bit about some of my faux pas in my journey today. But I love fresh stuff, and honestly, you guys, I was the biggest like ranch dressing, any kind of dressing, blue cheese dressing, creamy Italian dressing. I put dressing on everything, and now I love my omega-3s, which is going to be your olive oils, and there's lots of flavored olive oils, and this dressing actually, Dee, that you made today was delicious, and I did drizzle it over the veggies. I did everything just like you told me to.
and really simple, right? Simple ingredients, simple method.
Yeah, super simple. And you know, a lot of what you can do is you can grow your own herbs and have them right in the backyard. And so, you know, if you have a rosemary bush and if you have some basil, you just walk outside and grab some basil leaves and make your pesto. I mean, really good stuff.
This time of the year, you can find herb gardens too, portable herb gardens that you can grow inside and out. They're really neat. They look really pretty too. So, yeah.
So tell us about this sauce that you used with the chicken, the dipping sauce, because I think, again, we've become so accustomed to sauces, and I was a barbecue sauce freak, and it's just filled with sugar.
Yeah. So the interesting part about this creation of barbecue sauce today, I did use an ingredient that if you've watched some of our previous shows, you guys know I'm a little bit of a ketchup snob. I'm not a huge fan of ketchup because it is loaded with sugar, but I do love tomatoes. And so if you didn't have sugar-free ketchup, you can use tomato sauce as your base, or sugar-free ketchup in this recipe. And really all your flavor is going to come from things like garlic, a little bit of pure tomato paste, crushed red peppers, chili powder, and I use some chipotle chili powder for some great kick, a little bit of allspice, a little bit of clove. So there's a lot of seasoning in this sauce. Little or no oil actually at all. You use some water, and the awesome part about it too is traditional barbecue sauces call for a lot of sugar. So you're going to see lots of brown sugar, molasses, ingredients like this. In this one, I used Walden Farms blueberry syrup, and the blueberry just adds just a hint of flavor, and that is pictured there is 8 servings and 2 tablespoons per serving. So very little sweetener actually in this sauce. This will keep for weeks in a sealed container in your fridge as well. And so when you make a batch, it can go a long, long way. So it is good. You could use it on steak, on chicken, on pork, on shrimp, on fish. So you're not limited to where you could use it.
Yeah, and that's a great option because we all love our barbecue sauce. And dipping. We love to dip.
Dipping, yeah.
So here's another sauce that goes with these guys here. These grilled
Yeah.
shrimp, amazing, and I love
Yeah.
the skewers. I love anything on a skewer. It was funny
Yeah.
because just before we went on the broadcast, I had one of my brand new customers. She said. She texted me and said, I'm at Costco. There's some chicken skewers already made up here. Can I use those? I was like, no. Make your own chicken skewers and start learning to cook.
Mm-hmm. So again, this is a marinade slash dressing. So you make a batch of this, and it is so simple. So again, it's parsley and lemon juice and garlic and a little bit of oregano and pepper, and you can use I use some like Frank's Red Hot. You can kind of see the label there, and I use fresh parsley. And you make a batch, and you actually can marinate your shrimp from 2 hours to overnight. It'll work great for chicken, again, pork. I just chose shrimp. And you can marinate tofu in this as well if you're grilling tofu. And then you just reserve a little bit of this marinade to brush on once you're done grilling, barbecuing, baking. And those shrimps literally took just a couple minutes per side to cook. And so super fast and easy, a quick brush of a little bit of the reserved marinade, and you're good to go. So again, marinades can be made days in advance, and again, it'll keep all week in a sealed container, no problem. Because you're just using fresh herbs and lemon juices and a little bit of oil. The great thing too about marinades, so if you're in phase 1 and you find a marinade that calls for a lot of oil, you just simply substitute water. Or you could substitute a Walden Farms or an IP dressing, for a little bit more thickness or texture, but really your flavor it's coming from your garlic, your hot sauce, your lemon juice, your fresh herbs that you put in there. And so I'm going to give you that in the recipes as well. So don't be deterred by, if you see water as an ingredient, and then when you're phasing out into phase 4, a lot of times too, I like to half and half. So, if the marinade calls for half a cup of oil, I take it down to a quarter cup and use an additional quarter cup of water just to thin it out, because it's not always necessary to have those really heavy ingredients in there. The recipes still turn out amazing. So sometimes it's a little trial and error. And probably one of my biggest tips on anything grilled, whether it is vegetables or your protein source, you don't need a heavy marinade or seasoning on your veggies or protein prior to grilling. In fact, you get excellent flavor if you brush it on when you are done cooking. And then the natural heat that comes out of the veggies or your protein, then your seasoning and your olive oils as well. So just know that it's not wrong to dress your veggies and protein after as well. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are barbecue fans, send us some kind of cool barbecue emoji. Tell us what your favorite things are to barbecue and what your biggest challenges are as you are in, weight loss phase, where you're cutting the sugar and the sauces and trying new things and trying new dressings, and what are your challenges, and we're happy to help. We're happy to make recipes for you to mimic the favorite things that you love. So if you are interested in getting these recipes and you do not belong to our newsletter subscription yet, all you have to do is type in the word newsletter, and you will get a 2-part Facebook Messenger. So you just have to say yes and then click the newsletter button so that you subscribe to our weekly newsletter, and you get them every Monday. So with the long weekend coming up, there's a few recipes on these pictures that are online on our group or on our Facebook page. I already posted my recipes. Okay, so Dee gave me this task, and I was talking about it a little bit earlier. And she said, grill these. And it was funny because I was like, okay, but like, and Dee thought it was intuitive that I should just know what to do and how to do this. So Dee, take it away.
So Renee had some like really excellent points. So we were talking about medium heat, high heat, where you're supposed to be, and so any type of veggie or proteins are a little bit more finicky. So I'm going to give you some more specific instructions in your ingredients. But when you're grilling veggies, you can grill on medium to high heat. So medium and or high, you can heat your grill to high, turn it down to medium if you prefer. But I really like char marks on my veggies and my protein. I don't know why. I find it appealing. So I tend to grill my veggies on a little bit higher heat. And then they just cook a little bit faster. But there's nothing wrong with turning down your heat to medium and going a little bit lower and slower. Or same, if you're cooking a steak on high heat, your veggies are going to cook on the side really fast. So if you're cooking chicken, you're going to turn your heat down just a little bit so that you don't absolutely char, the outside of your chicken breast and not be cooked in the middle. So we also will give you a little chart that kind of gives you an estimate. So as Renee was saying, so those green onions and that asparagus, and they're gonna cook a little bit faster than say the portobello mushrooms, and then your zucchini, and then your peppers. So we can help you out a little bit there on cooking times for tenderness as well. So yeah.
Well, okay, so these turned out absolutely delicious, and as I was showing earlier, I have my plate of veggies. Now these already have the drizzled dressing, the balsamic dressing. I made this pesto here, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I had a little challenge going on there. So Dee gave me these ingredients here, and I made the phase 4 version because, as a lot of you know, a lot of clinics are waiting for our back order of the trail mix, the sweet and is it sweet and salty?
Spicy.
Oh, sweet and spicy trail mix. So you can make a phase 1 version of this, and I'll let Dee talk about that. But I tried making this in my NutriBullet. It came out fine, but it's kind of chunky. So it's not like that pesto sauce that you get at the store and you think, it's all like super fine. I've personally never used a food processor. I don't even know how. So
I'm a little too lazy, truth be known, with the food processor, because I hate washing all those parts. It's just the truth. Like, I love to cook and bake it, but somebody could come up and clean behind me. That would be my dream. So when you're making them like in a NutriBullet or I have a Ninja, and it's similar to a NutriBullet, but the blade it's really, really sharp and dangerous. But you can always add a little, just a smidge of water as you go if it's having a hard time breaking down or emulsifying, or if you're in phase 4, a smidge more oil. Those types of things can help break it down. And just so you know, when you're making, pestos and dressings and things like that, you can keep adding a little bit of liquid, whether it's water or balsamic vinegar or your oil, to get a desired texture. So maybe one day you're going to want it chunkier if you're making some awesome pasta, some faux pastas like on zucchini noodles and things like that. And then maybe you want it finer. To brush on, like today's recipe, like brushing on your veggies. But there's really not a right or wrong. It's, things taste wonderful in different consistencies. So don't be scared to play a little bit. So for a phase 1 version, I do like the sweet and spicy trail mix. Those chickpeas and those pumpkin seeds make a wonderful substitution for pine nuts. But if you're also in phase 4, don't be scared to do some substitution of your own. Walnuts make an excellent substitution for pine nuts. And if you didn't have either of those, you could even use some nutritional yeast in place of nuts in your pesto recipes. So of course, phase 4, you can add some yummy Parmesan cheese is wonderful in a pesto. Phase 1, we just simply omit it. No biggie. We're still getting the fresh herbs, and the sweet and spicy trail mix does an excellent job of giving texture and flavor to a phase 1 pesto. So Lots, but it's really simple.
So actually, I did make this with walnuts, and it's absolutely delicious.
Yeah. Yeah. Walnuts are one of my favorite maintenance nuts for a lot of reasons. I find them really meaty, if that's like, I find them to be a really meaty nut. They have really great oil. They are fantastic in salads and stir fries, and they're a healthy source of fat, and they're a little bit lower. Their carbs are a little bit less per serving. So we talk a lot in phase 4 about not being scared of healthy fats, and a walnut would be classified as a healthy fat.
Yeah. And like I was talking about a little bit earlier, if you are in maintenance, or you are going into maintenance for the summer, or you wonder what maintenance is like, join us in the Maintain Don't Gain group, and you can just type in the word maintain, and I'll be happy to send you a link to that group. One of the things that I do incorporate in phase 4 is healthy omega-3s, and so we want that for skin, hair health, for gut health, and so incorporating things like raw walnuts, raw almonds, raw macadamia nuts, and of course, I'm all about buying organic and non-pesticides, and bone broth and things like that help us to heal our gut dysfunction. Super important. It's my problem, so I'm just going to always be talking about it.
Yeah.
All righty. So the next thing that Dee gave me as a task was making some delicious balsamic vinaigrette. And I did not have the ideal protein dressing at home. So what I did was I popped over to Sprouts, and I got a bottle of the Walden Farms of the balsamic vinegar or balsamic dressing, as you can see here. And Dee, tell us a little bit. This was super easy. And again, I am not a big chopper person, so all of my dressing is chunky, and that doesn't bother me. So I have chunks of parsley, chunks of basil, and when I mean chunks, I mean, like little chunks, but it's not like super fine, like if you put dried herbs. So let's talk about a little bit, Dee, can you explain, is there any difference between using dried herbs, or I mean, I love fresh herbs, but is there any nutritional difference?
I'd have to do more homework, or we'd almost need like an ask the experts. In fresh form, you're always going to get a little bit more vitamins and minerals fresh. But as far as flavor goes, if you don't have access to fresh, dried is fine. In summer salads, and if you're using it as a marinade, dried herbs are really fine, because it's just so easy to prepare them. If you're using it as a dressing, especially in the spring and summer seasons, I just really love the appearance of fresh herbs as well, and the fresh taste. Obviously, you are going to taste a freshness difference. If you're using dried, I always like to let it even just sit a little bit longer to let the flavors meld. Is a tip. But especially where I live, very hard to find fresh herbs in the fall, in the winter seasons. Right now, we're good. But another tip on herbs. So when you don't wash your herbs prior to using them, store them in airtight containers, unwashed, maybe just wrapped in a damp piece of paper towel, and then just wash them and pat dry prior to use if you need to wash them. Just that break down. The moisture will break them down. You can take the stems off of them though, and if you have them in airtight containers, they last for weeks in your fridge. So making really fast, simple dressings such as the one pictured, and literally it is using a little bit of your favorite olive oil, garlic, salt and pepper, the 3 different herbs, and you could use IP balsamic dressing, you could use Walden farm balsamic dressing. If you were in phase 4 maintenance, you can use real balsamic vinegar. So just really, really simple and fast, really, really simple and fast. So and another thing, back to like brushed on the vegetables, beautiful. You could use it as a fresh salad dressing. You could even use it as a marinade for any of your protein or tofu again. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Super
here's
simple.
this last picture shows where I've kind of drizzled the chunky dressing over the different veggies, and you know, that would be a delicious plate to bring to an event, to bring with you to a barbecue, something that you are attending. So let's just talk for just a minute, Dee, about preparing things ourselves, and you know, understanding how quick, actually, you know, I was telling Dee, this took me less than an hour and I was taking pictures the whole time. So, you know, you guys can do this in 30 minutes. You can quickly wash your veggies, cut them, throw them on the grill. While they're on the grill, you're zipping up your pesto in the blender and making your quick dressing, or you already have some that you made a bigger batch of. So let's talk a little bit about that, Dee.
Yeah. So really what we can help you with is a pantry ingredient list, some must-haves, especially if you are in the losing phase, because they carry right through to maintenance. So you're not going to change these ingredients. They're going to be in your pantry. You know, we're always going to recommend a really good olive oil or grapeseed oil. We like things like Bragg's apple cider vinegar, Bragg's soy aminos. Always love fresh vegetables. Always love garlic, fresh herbs, salt and pepper, sugar-free hot sauce, mustard. You know, so dried mustard. Your herb and spices become your secret weapon in creating fantastic fast dressings and marinades, those types of things. Really fast to throw together. And what's really nice about it is you can make a single serving so fast, or you can make a big container of it that lasts a couple of weeks, so that when you're in a hurry, you have options. And the protein choices that we showed you today too, if you have little chicken tenderloins thawed in your fridge, it's literally going to take 5 minutes to grill those. 6, 3 minutes per side, done. Same with the shrimp, couple minutes per side, done. So really fast and simple, but super tasty. So you don't have to spend hours and hours doing laborious meal prep. To enjoy really, really healthy food. And of course, if the weather permits this time of the year as well, I encourage everybody to get out there, get some vitamin D, enjoy your decks, your backyards, your patios if you have them. Really sit down and enjoy your food versus, don't sit down in front of the TV or the computer if you don't have to, and just really enjoy the fresh flavors and your surrounding this time of the year. So Renee, where you are today is an absolutely perfect setting, and the perfect vehicle to show us your fabulous food, your fabulous patio, your flowers, the freshness. Like, that's an ideal, if you have the time to sit down and enjoy that. And then two, I'm a huge fan of always making extra, guys, always making extra, right? So if, for how fast these recipes are today, really easily done to double, triple them, if you're going to have a busy week. Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I was telling Dee, is I have a bevy, a group coming in tomorrow. I've got like 8 people arriving. So that was another reason wanting to, do the veggies at the last minute. I'll throw them in containers and we'll heat them up on the grill tomorrow quickly as we, everybody's kind of getting here late. So we'll be barbecuing tomorrow night for sure. And so Dee, what are your top 3 tips for going to an event this long weekend?
Oh, I'm a huge fan of bring your own food. So even if your host or hostesses say, no, just come, always be prepared, and you'll be pleasantly surprised if you bring a really healthy choice. bring extra of it because people will eat it. And that is often, I hear that report back from clients all the time that will say, oh, we went to this gathering, I brought this, and everybody was really interested in it. Or, we went to this event and, all I brought was this great big veggie tray and I was feeling like it wasn't going to suffice. And then we get there and there was no options like that. And everybody was eating the tray because, those simple options were overlooked. And that's a really, that's a key thing. So I've heard a lot of clients always say, gosh, we went to this big potluck or a buffet and, the broccoli salad had creamy dressing and the potato salad had creamy dressing, and be danged if they didn't dress the actual, plain salad that was there. So everything, was chock full of creamy dressings. I really just needed a good old-fashioned veggie tray, so don't be scared of doing that. Same thing, maybe you take some shrimp cocktail for yourself. And one thing that I'm a big fan of is that don't ever go anywhere hungry, and make sure you have an extra snack or drink or a ready-made or a packet in the shaker cup, whatever your jam is. You should always have a reserve in your vehicle, in your purse, in your shoulder bag, just so that if you get, in a pinch and you need a little snack before you can get somewhere, just, on the chance that there really isn't something there that's going to satisfy you. If you are at like a barbecue and somebody, they're grilling burgers, you know what? Don't be scared to ask one for no sauce. Sauce free, please. Can you do one on the side for me? And just enjoy it with some side condiments, whether that's, your onions, your pickles, your tomatoes, those types of things. Don't be scared of that either. And one thing that it's come up quite a bit this week, and I was actually I'm rereading myself, the Beck Diet Solution. We refer to it back a lot, but there is a sentence in that book last week that I found so pivotal, and it was, it's okay to be a little bit hungry. It's okay for you to experience being hungry and having to wait to be satisfied. And then it's a good lesson to learn not to be instantly gratified. That's really hard for us because we love instant gratification in everything we do. But barring that you are not a type 1 diabetic or other health issues, right? It's okay if you had to wait an hour for a meal or even two. You might have to drink a little bit more water, or maybe maybe you splurge and have that occasional, diet drink or something to tide you over until you can get to what you need. So I find that good practicing, like even for myself, right? Yeah.
Well, I have to tell you, I did a 5-day, it's called a fasting mimicking diet, and purely, this is not for weight loss, is purely to help reset my immune system. And one of the things I really learned about myself in those 5 days was that I need to rethink some of my eating habits, and even being in maintenance and even maintaining my 65-pound loss for 15 years. I eat way more than I really probably need to, and I am not as hungry as I think I am. So some things to think about. We did have a question here from Sandy. She says, what about making pizza on the grill or smoker? How do you think your pizza crust recipes will do?
So you can, a barbecue is an oven. It really is. So any newer model barbecues, they will have a temperature gauge on them. So it will give you the equivalent, whether you're at about 350 or 200 or 450. So that will be there for you. And so anything will work. You might just have to use like a cookie sheet or or an actual pizza pan.
You could get a pizza, what do they call those? Like I want to say a rock.
Yeah. Like you'll just have to adjust your, what you cook it on. They now make silicone baking mats for barbecues as well. Yeah, I know they do those foil ones as well. We're trying to stay away from those types of things, but Yeah, so absolutely. And in fact, you guys, I was going to bake you a maple ginger cake in the barbecue, but my weather wasn't cooperating with me last night. But maybe next week I will get that done because I have a few treats up my sleeve for you that we'll share next week. But yeah, anything that you can bake in the oven, you can do. Yes, a stone. There's a good.
Thanks, Carla. Carla's from Los
Yeah,
Angeles.
a baking stone. That's awesome. On our sharing pages, we had a client show us. I make an artisan bread, and she made it in her air fryer. And it's another good point. Like you can bake in a crock pot, you can bake in an air fryer, you can bake in your oven, you can bake in the barbecue. So you're not limited at all. You can bake in a little toaster oven. We do amazing baking in a little toaster oven. So
yes, we do. We do a whole cooking class with that,
yeah,
and it's
a little
amazing.
toaster oven.
I was totally impressed with what you did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Dee, we've come. We're as usual. We're
Over.
our limits. We want to wish everybody an amazing holiday weekend. Be true to yourself, hold yourself to high standards. Know that what you're doing now will get you to where the next 30, 40, or however many years you have left, all those seasons will be healthy at a great body fat percentage where you're out of the stroke and heart attack range, and
Yeah.
and you're in a good place and you feel good about yourself, and there's lots of time for cocktails and watermelon. I think the biggest thing that came up as a challenge in the maintain group is I love my watermelon. So Dee, you're going to be in charge of figuring that one out.
I think I'm gonna do. We might just have to do a whole mocktail popsicle slush.
Oh, totally.
Like mock
Yeah.
slush show. Because that's it. So again, on this Memorial Day weekend for you guys, like don't be scared to freeze your ready-made drinks or your powdered drinks that you make into a drink. Freeze them, blend them. Once they're frozen, reblend them into some awesome slushy drinks. Make some, fabulous iced coffees or some iced London fogs. I know some people are like, what? But yeah, they're fantastic. Any of our drinks make wonderful popsicles / freezies, but you can also blend them into slushy drinks with some club soda or some bubbly water, like those types of things, your Perrier, your Montclair. You can really make a fancy filling mocktail. So don't be scared of those things too. So
if you guys are interested in a mocktail show, send us the Bloody Mary emoji. Okay, Dee, it's been wonderful as always. I know you don't get the long weekend this weekend, but we do. So sending you
had mine.
love. And you guys all have a super, super weekend. And for all our Canadian friends, you had your weekend last weekend.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. Bye, you guys.
Okay. Bye, everybody.